The situation in Palestine, particularly in Gaza and Rafah, is a deeply complex and ongoing conflict rooted in historical, political, and social issues. To understand the current events, one must consider the broader context of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Here's a comprehensive analysis of the current situation, why the conflict persists, and the potential pathways to resolution. Current situation in Palestine. 1. Recent escalations. As of 2024, the situation in Gaza and Rafah remains tense and volatile. Recent escalations have seen renewed rocket fire from Gaza into Israel and retaliatory airstrikes by the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, on Gaza. The cycle of violence has been triggered by various incidents, including disputes over land, political provocations, and attacks on both sides. 2. Humanitarian crisis. Gaza, home to over 2 million Palestinians, is facing a severe humanitarian crisis. The blockade imposed by Israel and Egypt has restricted the flow of goods and people, leading to shortages of essential supplies such as food, water, and medical equipment. Infrastructure in Gaza has been heavily damaged due to repeated conflicts, resulting in a lack of access to basic services like electricity, clean water, and healthcare. 3. Political dynamics. The internal political situation in Palestine also contributes to the ongoing conflict. The rivalry between Hamas, which controls Gaza, and the Palestinian Authority, PA, which governs parts of the West Bank, complicates efforts for a unified Palestinian strategy. Hamas, considered a terrorist organization by Israel and many Western countries, maintains a hardline stance against Israel, while the PA has been more willing to engage in negotiations. Why Israel continues military actions. 1. Security concerns. Israel justifies its military actions in Gaza as necessary for national security. The rocket attacks from Gaza pose a direct threat to Israeli civilians, prompting the IDF to carry out airstrikes to neutralize these threats. The presence of militant groups in Gaza, such as Hamas and Islamic Jihad, who have vowed to continue their armed resistance against Israel, fuels the cycle of retaliatory violence. 2. Deterrence strategy. Israel's military doctrine includes maintaining a posture of deterrence. By responding forcefully to attacks, Israel aims to dissuade future aggression from militant groups. This strategy involves targeting military infrastructure, weapons storage sites, and leadership figures within these groups to degrade their operational capabilities. 3. Political pressures. The Israeli government faces internal political pressures to act decisively against perceived threats. Political parties, especially those on the right, advocate for strong responses to maintain national security and support from their constituencies. Public opinion in Israel often supports military actions against Gaza, viewing them as necessary to protect Israeli lives. Potential pathways to resolution. 1. Two-state solution. The two-state solution envisions an independent Palestinian state alongside Israel, based on pre-1967 borders with mutual land swaps. This solution has been the basis for many peace efforts, including the Oslo Accords. For a two-state solution to succeed, both sides need to make significant concessions. Israel would need to withdraw from occupied territories, and Palestinians would need to recognize Israel's right to exist and ensure security guarantees. 2. International mediation. International actors, such as the United States, the United Nations, and the European Union, play crucial roles in mediating the conflict. Renewed diplomatic efforts could help broker ceasefires and peace agreements. Effective mediation requires balancing the interests of both parties and addressing core issues like the status of Jerusalem, the right of return for Palestinian refugees, and security concerns. 3. Humanitarian interventions. Addressing the humanitarian crisis in Gaza is essential for any long-term solution. International organizations and donor countries can provide aid and support for rebuilding infrastructure and improving living conditions. Humanitarian efforts must also include measures to lift the blockade, allowing for the free flow of goods and people while ensuring that security concerns are addressed. 4. Grassroots and civil society initiatives. Peace-building efforts at the grassroots level involving civil society organizations from both sides can foster dialogue and mutual understanding. These initiatives often work towards building trust and cooperation between Israeli and Palestinian communities. Educational programs, joint economic projects, and cultural exchanges can help break down stereotypes and create a foundation for lasting peace. Challenges to peace 1. Deep-rooted distrust. Decades of conflict have bred deep-rooted distrust and animosity between Israelis and Palestinians. Overcoming this psychological barrier is one of the most significant challenges to achieving peace. Incidents of violence and political rhetoric often reinforce negative perceptions and hinder efforts to build trust. 2. Political fragmentation. The political fragmentation within the Palestinian territories, particularly between Hamas and the PA, complicates the peace process. A unified Palestinian leadership is crucial for effective negotiations with Israel. Similarly, political divisions within Israel can impact the government's ability to commit to and implement peace agreements. 3. Extremist elements. Extremist groups on both sides pose significant obstacles to peace. These groups often resort to violence to undermine peace efforts and maintain their ideological agendas. Countering extremism requires addressing its root causes, such as poverty, lack of opportunities, and political disenfranchisement. 4. International influences. Regional dynamics and the interest of neighboring countries and global powers also impact the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Aligning international interests with the goal of peace is essential for a sustainable resolution. Countries like Iran, which supports militant groups in Gaza, and the complex relationships between Arab states and Israel play roles in shaping the conflict's trajectory. Conclusion. The situation in Palestine, particularly in Gaza and Rafah, remains a tragic and complex conflict with deep historical roots and significant contemporary challenges. While the reasons for the ongoing violence include security concerns, political pressures, and a strategy of deterrence, the path to peace requires addressing these issues through comprehensive and multifaceted approaches. A lasting resolution will likely involve a combination of a two-state solution, effective international mediation, humanitarian interventions, and grassroots peace-building initiatives. Overcoming the deep-rooted distrust, political fragmentation, and influence of extremist elements is essential for any meaningful progress. Ultimately, achieving peace between Israelis and Palestinians will require sustained commitment, courage, and compromise from both sides, supported by the international community. Only through dialogue, mutual understanding, and addressing the underlying causes of the conflict can a just and lasting peace be realized.